Hi, Davi here, and today we have a new episode in the art session series. And today we're going to be doing a voiceover of a recent sketch. I believe this is sketch 2 out of 6 of this batch. And I decided to go for just one brush for not per sketch, but for all these sketches. Because I think in the previous batch, what I would do is per sketch, I would use a new brush. But for this whole batch, I just used one brush. It's this flat brush with some pen tilt, and that's it. And not only that, I also focused on grayscale. So no other hues, no other colors. It's just black and white and all sorts of gray. And I think it's very cool because when you do things this way, approach things this way, like you have no choice but to just focus on like values, volume, and you sort of end up in this sculpting mode. But when you have like color, sometimes that extra bit of consideration you have to think about, the hues, the colors, thinking about like color harmony, it can slow you down a bit. And I think what's cool about black and white is you can always color it after anyway, right? There are plenty of techniques and methods for maybe you make a new layer on top of it, or maybe you perhaps use some kind of gradient map or a combination of both. So you can always do that after, but I think when you focus on black and white or grayscale is you can accomplish so much. You can figure out form, you can figure out composition, you can figure out value, you can figure out lighting. Like you can do quite a lot with just this limitation. So again, when I'm doing these sketches, I think it was, let me just check my time for this sketch. 11 minutes. So I think for all of these sketches, it took about 10 minutes plus minus per sketch. So it's the longest kind of sessions I've done in this sort of format so far. And yeah, I'm kind of liking it because I think I was able to explore more and push my limits a bit by doing 10-minute plus minus sketches. Now this one kind of looks like a monkey. It just sort of appeared that way. And I think I did go with that. Now again, is the anatomy great? No, but do you see how it kind of looks like? Like I can make it look like some kind of creature with like arms with a head, and I think it does look kind of like a monkey. Hopefully it does in the end for you as the viewer, but you don't have to be as detailed when you do this kind of thing. If you're the painterly type, especially the abstract, expressive, very expressive, impressionistic type, you can just focus on the main like big picture. I mean, yes, there's some detail here, but it's mostly about the big picture. Like you're focused more on like the shape design, the silhouette, certain characteristics that make that thing, and it mostly has to do with some kind of like silhouette work, shape work, or some kind of motifs that you could add here or there to make that thing look like something. And I think I did a good job for the head, where I made the lower from the nose to the mouth. I made it protrude a bit forward, kind of like a monkey or like an ape. And I think that's all I needed to make it look like that thing. So this is a good example of like using your visual library. Now my visual library isn't that like complex, not as detailed, but I know enough because I've watched like National Geographic and stuff like that, or Discovery Channel. By the way, those were my favorite shows on TV. I don't really watch TV. I mean, who does watch TV anymore? But during the time when the internet wasn't really a thing, it wasn't as like normal or the main thing, it was like a side sort of concept. Those channels sort of gave me life, and I think that contributed to my visual library a bit. Now, can I improve? Obviously, but it's good enough. And what's cool about this is you don't even have to be as specific, right? Just focus on the major shapes, like where the legs are. Just you can sort of roughly indicate where the shape begins, where it ends, and that's it. You don't have to add like the folds or anything. Would it help if you had that kind of knowledge? Sure, but you can always add that afterward anyway. So yeah. And I think when you have less things sort of bothering you, for example, I don't focus on color. Oh, by the way, I'm right now. You can see me add like a tail. Yeah, I don't focus on color. I don't constantly switch my brushes. I don't even go from layer to layer. I'm painting just on one layer. So when I don't like something, I'll just paint on top of it, right? For example, in the background, it's all white, right? I'll select that white and paint on top of another kind of value to sort of erase it. I'm not saying do this forever, but for quick concepts, I think if you constantly switch between your painting brush and then an erase tool, it can be kind of, especially if you have this painterly approach, I think it does slow me down, and it may slow you down as well. So I do recommend learning how to paint in one layer, and it's way more fun, you know. And you learn to paint over your mistakes, which means if you do make a mistake, you're not so bothered by it because you know you can like paint on top of it anyway. And I also do this technique where I use layers, but it's not like I eventually I don't go back and forth. What I do is I'll select something that I want to adjust, I'll copy that, and then I'll paste it on a new layer, and then I'll move that around to sort of, let's say I want to move the arm, I'll simply select the whole arm, copy that, create like a flattened version of that selection, and then I'll move it around in a new layer and then paint on top of it, or merge it down to the previous main sort of layer. So I am using layers, but I don't go back and forth. It's like a quick thing that I do to make like some kind of adjustment in terms of proportions or whatever. So super fun. I'm not sure what's going on with the back. I think I eventually made it, or the thing at the top. I think I eventually made it into some kind of tree. But I did like the shape. I'm not sure what that shape could end up being, but yeah, the monkey sort of just took over from there. If you can't tell, like these are supposed to, like this is the head, the arm, right? The tail, which means this is like one leg and this is the other leg. Did they do a good job of like making it clear? Probably not, but you know, I tried. Oh, and also for this batch, I was kind of not too happy with it in terms of the camera. It was a bit too far. And I think because I think what's a good shot to have is to have the camera sort of be in the screen a bit, basically, because right now you can see the whole tablet, the whole screen within this like frame. So I think next time I'll be more closer, I guess. Like the point is, it should not bother. It's not a bad thing if you have like some corners of the screen of your actual like tablet be sort of cut off, and that way your tablet screen will actually take up most of the space. But I think because I somehow thought that I had to have the corners of this like tablet within this recording frame of this, like, you know, from my iPhone, I don't know, now it kind of looks smaller, and I feel like you're losing a bit of the detail here. I mean, it's not bad, you can still see it, but yeah, I just have to be a lot more closer, the same way I did with the past two batches of sketches. And also you can see this like a red thing here, which annoys me so much. I'm not sure what that is. I'm sorry, I think that's my USB sort of connecting thing. Oh no, that's my ThinkPad, my laptop. That's like a red dot for those of you who have like a ThinkPad. It's like, by the way, it's I bought this ThinkPad laptop you know, on Amazon, but it was not a new version, it was like refurbished or something. So I just needed one just because my PC, because my dad bought me a PC, like sort of, you know, box thing from Dell, but it's I uploaded, or I updated it with something, I forgot the name, but now it doesn't work, like it's shut down. So yeah, I could try fixing it, but I don't know how to handle computers. So is it BIOS? BIOS? BIOS update? Maybe some of you know this. Hopefully I'm saying it right, but it's some kind of update that is known for like ruining everything. So and that's why I avoid updates as much as possible, because I don't like touching things. Anyway, here goes the monkey. It's pretty cool. I did work on the background a bit because of that tree. So again, black and white. Look how fun that is. Let me just check my time here. We're pretty close to finishing, but look at that. It's so pretty, right? And black and white is all you need. Again, you can always add color later. You can always start with color in the next painting, but I think you want to allow, if you want to really train yourself to see values, learn to paint in black and white or grayscale. Because if your painting can make sense even in this stage without color, it's all just black, gray, and white. The moment you do add color, it's gonna look more grounded, right? It's not gonna look as muddy or as, because you figured out everything: contrast, values, lighting, composition. Excuse me. So it's, and you know what, you also you save time, right? Which is always a good thing when you're doing like these quick concepts, quick sketches. It's just a time saver. Like it does so much. Yeah, so I think I'm going to end the voiceover here. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.